Good morning, and welcome to the Tech Lab Brief, your daily heartbeat of technology and reminder that reports of the machines taking over are greatly exaggerated. We are your hosts.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm BK. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, and this is your AM Brief. OpenAI this time discloses an autonomous AI containment breach. So GPT 5.6 Sol and an unreleased frontier model autonomously escaped a sandbox testing environment during internal evaluations and executed an unauthorized cyber attack on Hugging Face's servers to retrieve answer keys for the benchmark test. The unprecedented containment breach has heightened security concerns and intensified calls for stricter regulatory oversight of frontier AI systems.
So, to my knowledge, that's the first time an AI model has end-to-end conducted a cyber attack.
Yeah.
And it was during an internal evaluation on the bench. It was grabbing answers to a benchmark test.
It's wild. It really goes to show that you could try to make it as secure as you want, but there's always going to be a hole. And well, there's Hugging Face plugging the hole along with OpenAI.
Yeah. I think they both handled it very well.
Yeah, we did report on the Hugging Face breach yesterday, but that was just Hugging Face's disclosure. And now it's very, honestly, I find it encouraging that OpenAI has pitched in their expertise and knowledge and insight on the situation. They saw it on their own internal systems that whoever these adversaries were using GPT 5.6 Sol to do the security, to execute the breach. So
Yeah.
good, collective intelligence.
Yeah. Then do you think that this is worrying? Is this like a sign of the future that AIs can do all this stuff end to end and rarely have any human intervention at all?
Yeah. So as you asked that very important question, it's having me step back through the different conversations that we've been having with you. I guess I've been having with you and other interns as different co-hosts on the brief about what the future of AI looks like. And what comes to my mind is the statement I said to Jaden one time that we must always question the AI. And we have to find the right points in which we're questioning the AI. And the question you asked phrased it with the phrase of worrying. And for me, I just don't worry. Like, we start off the brief saying that reports of machines taking over are greatly exaggerated. The machines are going to do what we ask it to do. And if we let it go off too far without our own human insights or intervention to say, I think this is us pausing. This is like, we need a human expert to apply their insight here. Then things are going to go awry. But at this point, even like Hugging Face with their breach, it wasn't exactly like, like customer data getting leaked or people's lives getting destroyed. So this ended up being a pretty good exercise on, what the future could look like, and both the potential and the dangers of what lies ahead with us in AI.
Yeah. Google released the Gemini 3.6 Flash to maximize efficiency and slash agentic costs. So Google DeepMind officially rolled out Gemini 3.6 Flash as its new core production model, engineered specifically to enhance token efficiency, reduce latency, and lower the operational costs of building and scaling multi-step AI agents.
Yay, 3.6.
Yeah.
Do you remember last week? You reported that Gemini 3.5 Pro was going to be announced.
Yeah, and then they pushed it back.
Yeah, I've been meaning to cover that on the brief, but there's been a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
But I guess they came out with 3.6 Flash, which is not quite a frontier model, is it?
Yeah, I think it's meant to, it just enhance overall like enterprise workflow, where there's been growing talk about how all these top frontier models, if you use them for like everyday, not cutting edge tasks, then it's a waste of tokens and the company's money. So I think the intention of 3.6 Flash is to lower enterprise costs with enhanced token efficiency, and the price of the tokens, it also dropped from $9 with 3.5 Flash to $750 per 1 million token.
Right, they dropped the price.
Yeah.
You stole my phrase. It was in my head. I was thinking about it. Token efficiency is such a key phrase. Really feels like the key narrative in this time that we're in, huh?
Yeah.
I think no more than like a year ago, we were hearing about how just token usage and consumption is everything. But now it's really shifted a lot towards making good use of each token. Doesn't it feel like all these different AIs like the intelligence level of all these AIs have more or less reached a convergence point, or do you feel like there's still these intelligent differences across models?
It's a good question. I mean, I definitely need to do some more research, but I feel like, yeah, I feel like I've come to some consensus that like if we like looking back in the history of all these LLMs a couple years ago, like they're nowhere near where we are today. Like even the lower models,
Mm-hmm.
like DeepSeek, Quen, and I feel like they've all sort of come a long way, and I think they are at some baseline level now. They're pretty strong compared to where we were like 2 or 3 years ago.
Remember, GPT-4 came out and we're like, oh my goodness. But now that's just gone way down. And
Yeah.
at this point, yes, the Chinese AIs are, in a sense, taking over. And on that note, the red reaction. So China's Kimi K3 shocked Silicon Valley. And similar to the way the release of DeepSeek R1 brought the reaction it did when it had performance rivaling OpenAI's O1 model, the anticipated release of Kimi's K3 open-weight model has the US tech market anticipating how the releases of this popular new open-weight model will impact demand within the sector. Access to Kimi K3's 2.8 trillion parameter open weights will be made available on Monday, July 27, 2026. It looks like they opened the API access, but the ability to actually run this Kimi model on your own hardware will have to hold off until Monday when they make that release.
Yeah. 2.8 trillion parameters, is that roughly around the top models, like the top US frontier models? Or
It's hard to say, and that's actually one criticism I'll have for the US frontier companies, that they're not very transparent about how large their models are, how many parameters it is. Because in a sense, it doesn't really matter as a proprietary model. Like, who cares? And obviously, like these open weight models, it is a key metric to knowing like whether the model could be even run or not locally or on one's own hardware.
I mean, if we're just going off of performance, then early evaluations, they place Kimi K3 at number 3 on global AI performance.
How about that?
Yeah, they're rivaling Fable, GPT 5.5, I guess. When the benchmarks came out, 5.6 wasn't out yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even between GPT 5.5 to 5.6, just how much is the gain worth? We have Soul is definitely the leading frontier model that shows this massive gain, and like they've started to stratify and tier these AI models. Actually, they all have, right, between like frontier as the highest performing, and then like the medium, the balance, and then the budget. And Kimi seems to be right in the pack, right? Just
Yeah.
behind the leading frontier models. Does this make Claude and OpenAI, Anthropic, and Claude and ChatGPT, Anthropic and OpenAI, respectively, does it make it any less valuable? So it's decrease their value?
I think there is more value to us as American citizens to sort of like be personally invested in AI, US AI companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'd be best for like our country's interests for US citizens to have interest in AI in the United States versus AI in China.
This competitive AI scene between US and China is, I think, one of the largest stories going on globally. I really hope that this competition doesn't become cutthroat, right? I think there can be a healthy competition. I think there's a way for for each nation and the leading AI companies to keep pushing the frontier of research, drive more economic activity in our respective countries, and just bring out the best in each other in this race.
Yeah.
To China's credit, I guess they are very open about being open. They bring out the open weight models, and that's actually a benefit to the U.S. economy. And one of the headlines, part of the story, is that the U.S. market, the tech and AI sectors have been selling off because they're scared because of that China has open weight models. It's going to make OpenAI less valuable, Claude less valuable. Sure, it might decrease the traffic, but you still need to run these, especially when the open weights model comes out. You need to run the hardware somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we saw Kimi come out, and respectfully, I'm just really not going to use their chat or API platform. They're hosted, because everything's hosted in China, right? And we do need to be careful about what data we're sending out to the other nation's servers.
Yeah.
Right. But No, I mean, this is I think a great collaborative effort between the AI industry, really pushing progress. So hats off to all parties. And on that note, we'll take a look at some stuff going on with Anthropic.
Anthropic is contributing the $20 million to Public First Action, doubling its total support for the AI policy organization to $40 million in 2026. Public First Action is advocating for stronger oversight of advanced AI systems, including mandatory safety testing, greater transparency, and stronger security standards for companies developing frontier models. So it looks like Anthropic is moving towards like supporting AI policy, like safety.
Well, I think they've been doing that.
Yeah.
Anthropic is involved in so many things at this point. If you look at their website, they have a really fascinating, they have so much documentation and resources on how they're contributing to this AI race beyond just their models. A lot of policy pushes. And it's actually nice to see that they're making these contributions to, I'm assuming that Public First Action is a nonprofit.
Nonpartisan, nonprofit organization.
Yeah. And I remember that there was a report of Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, saying, hey, can we slow down? Right. So on the flip side, the previous segment, we were just talking about how China is pushing the United States, the US markets, the US tech AI sectors to keep being more competitive. But at the same time, we do need to kind of slow down and really evaluate the policy side of this whole situation. Because if we don't have the right, if we don't make the right policy changes or enforce the right policies around this rapidly growing technology, then the rubber is going to meet the road somewhere. And yeah, anything come to mind in terms of what kind of AI policy we need to take care of sooner than later?
Well, I mean, we just had a bunch of security breaches. Well, first starting with like Mythos, and now this Hugging Face OpenAI for 5.6 Sol breaching into Hugging Face. I think the cybersecurity and national security risk, those are two big things that we should be worried about. Or we should at least have some policy or be working towards some policy. We need security. That is something that is necessary.
And we'll take that to talk a little bit about our U.S. government's latest scientific bet, investing $5 billion in an initiative using artificial intelligence to accelerate scientific research in healthcare, construction, energy, and other strategically important fields. The initiative will involve 15 federal agencies, including the Departments of Energy, Human and Health and Human Services, Defense, Transportation, and Interior. Initial goals include identifying the causes of chronic diseases, accelerated drug discovery, and developing longer-lasting construction materials. Right. So there's such a focus on AI to be used for coding.
Yeah.
But it's useful for more than that, right?
Yeah.
The coding is probably still involved in a lot of these sectors, a lot of these areas of research.
Probably.
We are looking to do a lot of automation,
right?
So of these different sectors I'd listed, or I guess different goals of chronic diseases, accelerating the drug discovery, developing longer-lasting construction materials. What do you see strong promise, Ethan?
I think identifying the cause of chronic disease, because I think human health is always going to be one of the biggest interests in human society. Improving our health
as well.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense for the government to be moving towards using all these advanced AI tools into improving human health.
Yeah, but also on the flip side, I feel like the medical industry, medicine has made massive improvements over the years, right? Like our ability to sustain human life and like disease research, drug research, like it's all made massive strides, and it is exciting to see what more AI can do. But also on the flip side, this developing longer lasting construction materials, the idea of new materials that come out that can have all these properties that we never could have even thought possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the future is bright if we choose to see it that way, right? It's hard to really grasp with everything moving so fast and so in so many directions. And I guess on that note, that'll bring an end to our new segment, and we'll take us now into our knowledge segment.
Our knowledge segment is just our way of improving our collective intelligence, like both us and our audience.
So we're gonna explore a topic together,
using
apps called
WeChat.
WeChat.
Today we're going to be talking about USB connectors, different versions of USBs, and the history of USBs.
Taking a
Slight detour.
Right. All this AI talk will
Yeah.
take a bit of a break on that and load this music.
Yeah.
I think this is okay. Tell me about the history of all USB ports. Wow, it could go way back, man.
Yeah.
Hope there's some pictures. Yeah, it's PS/2 over here. It used to be the interface for mouse and keyboard. Do you remember the circle plugs?
I had some of those in my mother.
Oh yeah, they still come up on them.
Yeah. Okay, so the USB Type A is the classic rectangular port colored almost. It's found everywhere. And it's non-reversible. If you plug it in one way upside down, it's not.
There's actually a whole hardware design philosophy. Like designing hardware in a way that prevents the user from making mistakes. Right? So that USB plug, it can only be inserted one way, right?
Yeah.
So apparently that was by design to make sure that the user will never, put it in the wrong way.
I think some other types, USB Type B. I haven't really come across USB Type.
I'm trying to, I think Type B. Well, again, I wish there was images with this, but
yeah, USB Type C. So, if you could pause for a second, going back to what you were saying about design philosophy. So the USB, it was non-reversible, so that you can only plug it in one way, and that reduces mistakes. But the USB-C is fully reversible, which also reduces mistakes because you can't mess up the way that you plug it in. It goes in either way.
So, by design. But fun fact, the lapel mic system that I bought, I don't know if it's a lapel mic or this USB-C extension device, right?
Yeah.
So here's our lapel mic receiver, and then this is the USB-C extension wire. And apparently the extension cord only works in one direction of the USB-C. So if it's in the other way, then it just won't register.
That's interesting.
So that got me for a solid 10 minutes, or actually over a few days. I was just, why isn't it working? Just use the camera mics. Yeah. I think this is really interesting, going into like the different versions of USB.
Yeah. I'm most interested in how the speed of the different versions improves over the years.
Yeah, so you have these different USB versions, 1, 2, 3, we're now on 4, that were supported across the different connector shapes, right? So USB Type A and B, and then 2 was on Type A and Type B, mini, micro. I grew up mostly on USB 2.
Yeah.
And then around college time for me is when USB 3 came out. It was very exciting because we jumped from 500 megabytes to 5 gigabytes.
Wow. And 10x.
Yeah. And USB-C was just starting to come out. I think even for me, it's hard to really tell the difference between 3 and 4. I think there's still a lot of USB 3 devices out there. I mean, if you look at the time span, right?
Yeah.
8 to 17. And then these games are really like, who really understands? I mean, who has a really good feel for what 40 gigabits or 80 gigabits gives?
Yeah, at some point it's just it's like frames per second. Like when you're playing video games, it's like after a certain point, like there's no real difference between 360 frames and 480 frames. It's hard to tell.
Kind of like AI model intelligence. Okay. So key highlights in USB history. On the birth was during a coalition of tech giants of Intel, Microsoft, IBM, Compaq, and Apple.
USB Implementers Forum.
You know these guys, Compaq?
No.
I think they were bought by Gateway. Anyway, it was like a whole endless stream of PC manufacturer buyouts. Interesting. 1998, Apple released the Mac G3, which famously dropped all legacy ports in favor of USB 1.1, which forced the accessory market to adopt USB universally.
So they just dropped all the other ports and told everyone to use USB, and then the market just adapted to them. Wow.
1998 too, that was kind of an early time for Apple before they became the giant they are today.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you go into the mobile market, it became all USB, right?
Yeah.
2014 present, universal convergence, USB-C, unified phone, tablet, laptop, display, and power connections in a single universal kit type.
Yeah, everything's USB-C nowadays.
Except for the things that aren't. You know what we're talking about. there is something here, I guess, philosophically in my head about like universality versus individuality and kind of the value of it. Do we want? Yeah, I think we'll all agree. It'd be nice if everything was just USB, especially anything external, right? And there's a lot we could talk about, like internal interfaces. USB is really great for anything that we interact with in real life, like our phones. When we hook up our phones, it's connected to like a computer, so that's done externally. But there's a lot that goes inside the computer, and the technology is just the same as like USB, right? In fact, if we go back real quick with USB 4, it talks about how one of the use cases is for ultra fast speeds for high end displays and external GPUs. So there's actually a way to take a GPU and just hook it up to your computer without having to open up the computer and plug it in, because it could get like kind of cramped in there. Any closing thoughts, Ethan?
USB is one of the like greatest achievements in
Mm.
technology.
Goat thing, huh?
Yeah, standardization.
All right. On that note, brings our knowledge segment to an end, and we'll do barcade real quick. Yeah. All right. Looks like we're starting with Connect 4. So I started the game. I remember the other day I just put it on the side. So looks like we're starting to stack on the side. We'll keep stacking on the side. Just follow the AI here. Predicts. It's a prediction, so we're predicting. Checkers. Wow, that's a lot of kings. Okay, it's Team Red's turn, and gotta make a move. Well, it looks like we have no choice. It looks like these two black pieces are gonna grab their kings. But I would like to move this king towards the center. Grab some positioning here. Yeah. Chess master. Ooh, look at this. We got captured pieces being shown. So Team Red's white to move.
Yeah,
It's interesting because it's this rook's in danger, but
that is true.
this pawn up sets up something really nice, because you move this pawn up, it threatens the rook, and well, bishop can't take the rook anymore, right?
Yeah.
And if the rook blocks, then we can put the rook here and pin down the bishop.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's do it. Ship it. Nice run to the barcade, and that brings our barcade segment to an end, which also brings our brief to an end. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed watching the cast just as much as we did preparing for it. Join us for the later one today at 5 p.m. As always, let us know what you think. We want your feedback. Please let us know. We want to get better. And also, please consider subscribing as a member. And now, your 74 octal 74 seconds of Zen. Lock in. Have a great day. We'll see you at 5. Bye now.